Hey guys, welcome to another video. I'm Jack, I'm the Avid assistant, and for this one I'm actually going to be responding to comments from the channel. So this is comments from you guys that I haven't gotten around to fully answering or wasn't able to answer just on text on YouTube replies. So I'm going to do my best here to demonstrate your answers, to more thoroughly explain, and hopefully this helps and gets you sorted over the questions that you've asked. It's been really great talking to some of you guys. I've been able to chat to a few of you now and learned a few things from you guys as well, so thank you. This is turning into a great little community. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first comment.
And first up we have Medy Afiriner, whose comment is, can we delete selected space using this method? I mean more than one of them at once.
And what Medy is meaning here is, this is one of the YouTube Shorts videos I showed on using select left or select right, and a method that would allow you to select just the spaces between clips. So I'll demonstrate that again just now. So if you had a number of shots on a layer like this, and we can go select right, and then holding shift and option, hit select right again, and we just get all the gaps. Now, I do not believe we can strip just the spaces. What I think Medy is meaning here is extract out all the gaps and suck all the clips together. Now, the direct answer to the question is that no, we can't extract the gaps using this particular method. And I don't, off the top of my head, know of a quicker way to do this other than just jumping along, hitting T to mark the area, and then, zipping it along like this. So I'm hitting T to mark it, and then X to extract the gap, and then bring stuff together like that. Now I know if you have a much larger sequence than this one and a lot more gaps to fill out, that could be a bit of a pain. I don't know off the top of my head. I could maybe look into this a bit more, but I don't know of a way to quickly do that. It's not a problem I've ever had to solve. And generally speaking, if I, after researching, can't find a way to do something in Avid, that's when I'll start looking at scripts. But yeah, sorry I can't be more helpful on that one, Medy.
Our next question comes from Tritoon710. And they're asking, can you please talk about the subtitles and how to handle the SRT files in Avid Media Composer and the whole workflow? Many thanks.
So a couple of points to answer this question. When working with subtitles within Avid Media Composer, we use an effect called subcap, which can be found under the generator category next to timecode burn-in, and just lay it down on a track and we can edit our subtitles. Now this whole sequence is offline at the moment, but you'll see I've put just subs in the lower part of the aspect ratio mask here, and just subs part 1, 2, 3, and it's a really great tool. You can open it up, customize it. If you move any one of the subs, then it can affect all of the subs on that track, so you don't have to reposition all of them. You can have it center aligned, change the font, background box, whatever. And to answer the other part about SRT files, we don't really use SRT files in Avid. They're not really compatible with subcap. However, the two files that it will import, like if you have subs already prepared for you and you want to just import them into the system, you can do that. So the two files that it will import are a text file, .txt, or an STL file, sort of subcap's preferred version of SRT. Now, how you would get these text files or STL files into Avid is by dragging the subcap effect onto a layer, opening up an effect editor, and then go to caption files and hit import caption data. Once this opens up, select the type of file that you have to import, STL or text, navigate to your subtitle file, select it and import, and your subtitles will automatically be placed. Now to get back to the question, and I'm sorry I'm taking a long time to answer this, if you only have SRTs to work with, there are tools and applications that allow you to convert an SRT file to an STL file for use with Subcap. I will have one of them linked in the video description where you can go and download it. They're free tools that allow you to do this. And there are also tools used for creating subtitles directly into formats prepped for Subcap use. And once you get the hang around it, Subcap is an extremely useful, very versatile tool. Highly recommend it. So I hope that long-winded answer has helped with that question, and you're all sorted for Avid subtitles in the future.
Our next question comes from a user called Blackburn, and their question is, my Lasso is snapping to the timeline and not following my cursor. It stops on every frame or cut. It's very frustrating. How do I disable that?
So I'm not sure entirely what's going on there, Blackburn, but I can make a couple of suggestions. Now, some of my suggestions may be things that other people disagree with, but hey ho. So I would just make sure that you are beginning your lasso, like clicking and dragging, from the background of the timeline. I never click and drag from around here. If you click and drag anywhere on the actual timeline where the clips are, it can default to segment tool if the segment tool is enabled, and you'll just be clicking and dragging and moving things. Or even if you don't have any of the smart tools enabled, it'll just default to moving the playhead if you try and click there. So just make sure that you're beginning your lasso behind the timeline. And then I can't see why you should have any issues there. That's actually the reason why I always have my timeline background colored, which I have shown how to do in other videos. It is in your interface settings, I believe. So give that a whirl, see if it fixes your lassoing. Now, this next question is from the ever-loyal Alvin Burrell, who I've chatted to a few times outside of the channel, a regular viewer. And it's a question I've tried to respond to, but I've also said that it's coming in a future video, which it still is, like in more detail. But I did want to demonstrate it and answer the question, now, since he's asked it a couple of times and I may be waiting for an answer. So Alvin's question is, hello, how easy is it using this method to round trip back to Resolve? Maybe, for instance, you complete your Avid edit and you want to update the grade and relink. Thanks. So this was a comment done on the video I did on making transcodes for Avid in Resolve. And so what he's asking here is, once you've done your edit, getting that timeline back into Resolve and relinking back to the source, rebuilding the edit there. So I'll demonstrate how I would go about that just now. So I have a very rough assembly of a scene here in Avid, and I'll just flatten it, might as well since there's just one there. So I would start this by going File, Output, Export, and I would export an AAF. I do all video and data tracks in this sequence. Link to, don't export. Basically, you don't need any media for this. This is just a strictly a link to AAF export. Don't need bother with marks, want the whole sequence, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to save this as, linked AAF. Then I'll put this assistant. Just dump it in here just now. Cool. So that's me got the reference for my video out. Sound wise, I'll always do it separate. So when I'm sending to the grade, I'll do a Qt export, a MOV reference with burn-ins and all kinds of stuff that they can slap on an additional track, and they can use the sound for that export, for sound while they're grading. And then once the actual sound guy's finished, they can get the mix in if they so choose. But this is for a grade that we're talking about in Resolve, so what we're going to be dealing with picture. So I'm going to jump over to Resolve, and then I'm going to bring in the source sound. Sorry. And then I'm going to bring in the source picture. So this is all the source camera files for that scene. So I've just dumped them in the media pool, and we're going to park them there for now. You can see there all that same scene at the phone box. And I'll go new bin called timeline. This is all a bit rough, but I'm doing this kind of hasty just to demonstrate to answer the question. And then inside here, I'll go to the edit tab first, and I'll go file, import, timeline. File, import, timeline, and I'll import that AAF that I just exported. So I'll just go to where I've put it. Open. Right, now we get a whole bunch of options like from Resolve, as it's asking how do you want to interpret this AAF in terms of media and things. A lot of this we can just leave, but there's a couple of things that I'll tweak. So automatically set project settings. You know, if this is the first thing that you're importing, it can tweak the project settings to match the frame rate. I'll generally do that when I make the Resolve project, but you know, there's no harm in leaving that tick just now, unless it's a different frame rate and you want to keep that. But the next one under it, automatically imports source clips into media pool. I'm going to untick that, because if we do that, then it's going to try and find the source clips that the Avid timeline is referencing, in this case Avid Media and Avid Media files, the transcodes, and then bring that into the media pool and link to that. Don't want that. So instead I'm going to tick link to source camera files. So I want it to find those source camera files and link to them. So with those ticks done, I'm going to hit OK. And then folders like where we want it, you know, timelines. And you can see it's automatically found them. And this is because I've imported it into my media pool before I've started. Now, if this was a bigger project, I'd just bring all of the media, source media that had been done. On larger scale productions like features and TV dramas and things, they'll have their own tools for sifting through all the source media to get just what's referenced in an AF or an EDL, more likely an EDL for that purpose, to narrow it down. But the principle is the same. You're bringing all the source media into your media pool first, then you're importing a linked AAF, telling it to look at the source camera files, and boom, it's going to find them. Now, Resolve's Relink is pretty solid. In the off chance that this doesn't work, where you can select a clip, the relink, and you can force a relink to clips in your media pool if you know exactly what it is. But so long as all the metadata and the timecode's there and it's been preserved, this part should be an absolute piece of cake. It should be dead easy. So there you go, Alvin. Hopes that answers your question. And if you have any issues with getting this to link when you try this yourself in Resolve, just let me know and I'm sure I can help. Right, now the last question here has come from Will Lawson, and it was actually a comment on top of Alvin's comment, where he's saying, at the Avid Assistant, hi, any chance could you do a video on relinking to the source in Avid by the method you just explained? Would be amazing. Your content has helped me a lot. Thanks. So first off, cheers, Will, for the thank you. It's always appreciated. Appreciation? It's always appreciated. Anyway, moving on. Yes, so this is more or less the same answer to what's above, just done in Avid. So I'll show you. So back in Avid, I have my sequence. We're using the same sequence here we used for Alvin's answer for that demonstration. And we're going to relink to the source clips. Like as if we were moving to online, but in Avid instead of Resolve. So exactly the same process. What we're going to do is we're going to do go to the source browser, and we're going to link in the source clips. So just like how the first process we were linking the source into the media pool in Resolve, we're going to link it in Avid. So go to the source folder here, filter just the camera clips, and I'm going to link to these. Link clips in. Now, the only catch with doing this in Avid is that Avid can be a bit temperamental with, the tape names in terms of AMA linking. Like, there's no quick way to batch apply a tape name in the tape column. So we're going to use a different column for the relinking. But we've already got all the information there under tape. So this is my subclips here that are all in the scene. You can use bin display to quickly bring this up if you need to. In fact, we'll demonstrate that. So here's my sequence. This red one is just a backup, so I can try my relink multiple times. Now I'm just going to set bin display here to show reference clips. Then it's going to show all the reference clips inside the sequence. And I'm going to bring up in this bin both tape column and lab roll. So we've got lab roll here, we've got tape here. Then I'm going to duplicate tape field just by selecting the top of the tape field and hitting Command D and duplicating it into lab roll. So lab rolls are effectively playing the same role as tape would. And now in the bin where I've done my AMA linking, I'll do the same thing, but just with the file names. So I'll duplicate the file names into lab roll. And now we'll have a commonality between the subclips and the source for linking. So I'm just going to select these, then go to my sequence with my bin. I can actually fix my bin display back now. So show reference clips, nope. So now I can select my sequence, do a relink, and I will set it to look at lab roll and start timecode, selected items in all open bins, and here we go. Boom. It has relinked to the source files. So you can see it's changed to show the source file name, and if I match frame find bin, it takes me to the source clip that I've linked in. So the only catch here that you have to do when you're doing it in Avid is just to dupe the tape name column into lab roll, or you could also use disk label or cam roll or really anything else like that. And that makes it much easier to force this relink between the two. So you just need to remember to have them selected and then do your relink on your sequence, selected items in all open bin after you've got the common metadata, and then your sequence will link up all ready for online work within Avid Media Composer. A bit of a messy answer there, Will, since I was rambling on a bit. So then there was a bit of faffing around. So I hope that does answer your question. And if not, just get in touch and be able to sort you out. Hey guys, so that concludes our first, comments responding video. I really hope I answered your questions well enough. I hope I got around to everything and explained things well enough. I know it was a little bit faffing around at times. But I think we got there. If I didn't explain anything correctly, if I've missed anybody's comment that still hasn't been addressed, please do let me know, and I will get to it and I will respond, and we'll sort you out. If any of these explanations didn't, still haven't covered it, also let me know and I'll reach out to you directly and we'll get things sorted. But in the meantime, there's some really exciting stuff coming from the channel. They're going to be coming, really fast over this week and next week. So really looking forward to seeing your guys' reactions to that. And yeah, I'll see you next time for the next video. Thanks for watching.